What is it, morning, afternoon? Good afternoon? Good afternoon? Here we go. Okay, good afternoon. Got to do whatever Joe does.
So you come off a game against the Jets where they're 0 of 11 on third down. At one point yesterday, Miami was 8 of 10, so it was a pretty big swing.
Yeah.
Sean talked about you guys, kind of going over each one of those one by one today during the film. What stood out to you about some of those struggles?
Yeah, I think two things there. I could help them with calls, and we've got to be able to execute and make sure our rushing coverage is working together. It starts with me. I got to put us in the right position. And then we got to be able to execute. We know what the weaknesses are of every call that we're in, and if they attack one of the weaknesses, it's my job to put us in a different call. And so we'll certainly address that, get it corrected, and look to be better next time.
Referred to them as the 3rd and 7+ as 3rd and long situations, especially. Those can be kind of especially maddening for people watching the game because it's an advantageous situation for the defense when you can't get the stop there. I'm sure it's maddening for you as well, but
yeah, I was about to say.
What do you philosophically, how do you approach those, and how do you deal with the frustration of not getting the stop when seemingly you're in the spot to do it?
Yeah, so I got to try to make the call that works, for what they're doing, obviously. Certainly the offense we went against is talented. There's some execution things and some fundamental things within there, and then talking about the rushing coverage working together, whether it's, I'll go back to we pressured Tre'Davious off the edge. We have a free runner, and, we have certain fundamentals when you're approaching mobile quarterbacks that we got to follow, and we've certainly got to do that. And then, and then he scrambles, he gets out, he throws it to Tyreek, and part of the coverage broke down, and we need to be better there. And, there's the one on Tyreek on 3rd and 10. We have what we call a vice tackle happening, and he attacks the inside piece of that vice tackle. And, it comes down to some fundamental things, and certainly it always starts with me. I got to put us in the best position possible. That offense is a challenge because of who they have on the outside. But within the game, it's a matter of, okay, we get together, we're on the headset, we talk about it as a staff, what do we like, and sometimes you overthink it. And, we just need to get back to what we do best, and, looking forward to getting that bad taste out of our mouth on 3rd down. Certainly, you said you go from 0 for 11 to whatever they ended up, which wasn't good, I know the percentage. But, to get them into 16, 3rd and 4th downs, that's excellent. But we got to get off the field, and our guys know it's not good enough. We knew it the whole game, and certainly I'll do everything I can to put them in position to do that and do a better job there.
Bobby, we always hear about the rush and coverage working together. Without giving things away, can you take us to football school and how those two things really marry up?
That's right. So, it's a matter of the timing of that the offense is using in a particular situation. So let's start in a shorter 3rd down window and using 3rd down specifically. We know the ball's coming out quicker, so the way we rush and how we have to win versus the coverage we're in, we certainly know that'll be quicker in how we manufacture that. Now, that depends on the opponent and all those type of things. But then once you get to that 3rd and longer, understanding protections, how we're beating protections, what our rush plan is, along with they're going to hold the ball a little bit longer. So we've got to get them potentially to hold it a tick longer. The same in the shorter window based off how we're manipulating coverage and those type of things. So then when you talk about pressures have got to hit because you're lesser in coverage clearly. So pressures have got to affect the pocket, and then we got to have the coverage that corresponds with that based off what they want to do in that window. So there's a lot more that goes into it, but we certainly got to make sure that we're syncing those two up in a better way.
However much Deone is still getting developed,
Yep.
how big of a learning experience and how valuable was that to play a role in that interception?
Yeah, I mean, I think I quote the Micah Hyde, confidence is a dangerous drug, right? So I think the more he plays, the better off, and that's any of our rookies, the more they play, the better off they're going to be. There's a certain standard that we want for our rookies to play with, and that's the Buffalo Bills standard. It's not their own standard, and a lot of them have got to learn that. We're going to continue to harp on it, and the standard doesn't change. It doesn't matter what year you are here. Like we expect a certain level of performance and style of play, and that's what we're looking for.
Last night, Deone told us after the game in that first defensive series, misassignment, one he wants to have back. But then obviously go to that game where Bernard's interception, his role in that. For a rookie, what does that say about just the mental fortitude side of that? To be able to wither basically 4 quarters, to still be in the game, to come away and make a play like that.
Yeah, I mean, Deone wants to be really good. And the most important thing is Deone doesn't want to let his teammates down, and that's been clear from the time he's gotten here. For a rookie, I'd say his detail is pretty solid as far as him wanting to do those things. But you talk about a consistency and a mindset in the way we walk into stadiums, but that's got to be from the beginning. Our whole goal is to waste no plays. Our whole goal is to waste no plays. And your mindset has to be that, and there's so much that goes into it. Situation, what they like in those situations, and all those type of things, and what the calls on you to do and to do your job. And that's got to be there from the beginning. And we can't have it to where something bad has to happen early for us to lock in. And certainly he affected the passer on that critical play, but everything matters, and we've got to do that from the beginning.
About how much Joey Bosa will be playing 87% of the snaps last night. Like, how do you?
Yeah, that's sometimes the way the game plays out a certain way. Only having 8 D linemen up, and that's not a cop out by any means, but we need to get that down, and we will get that down.
How is that like other guys? How do you get that down?
It's just the flow of the game. It's the flow of the game, and we just got to be really cognizant of that. So, yeah, we're going to do everything we need to get that down.
Being down guys, Zion Logue plays in 41% of the snaps last night. What has he done to earn himself that type of playing time?
Yeah, Zion has grown tremendously since he got here last year. And it's been really cool to see, and he did some good things last night. But again, flow of the game, the way it goes, based on the way the drive is happening and how many plays a certain guys had on that drive. And, so we're certainly monitoring every play time, especially up front. And, we got to find that sweet spot sooner than later.
Trey, based on
Trey
White, yeah, with last season and he well documented the struggles coming back from the injury.
Yeah.
And I felt like there were a lot of high moments last night where he was producing at a high level, and then obviously some that he probably would say he'd want back. When you evaluate a game like that, can you kind of just put your finger on where he's at and what he's giving you at that other corner spot?
Yeah, I think you saw just the second game of this year, for him. I think that's what you saw. I know there's plays he'd want back. I know there were some, like you said, really high moments and some moments that he would want back, and we all want back. But, talk about it all the time, like build on your strengths and strengthen your weaknesses. And so that's what we look for him. The biggest thing we don't want is making the same mistake twice and allowing the same negative, for lack of a better word, to show up on multiple occasions. So all our guys know that, and that's what we look to do, is to identify those areas of improvement.
What did you make of Thompson tonight?
It's fun to have Shaq out there. You guys see he brings juice, he brings energy, he brings physicality. Certainly a professional, one of the guys, great teammate. So it was good to have him out there.
I can't because of the air conditioning.
It's a loud air conditioning.
Sure it is. Coincidence that Terrell Bernard is in a game-turning play yet again in the fourth quarter of the second home game. Is that a coincidence?
No. We just put ourselves in position, try to put ourselves in position to make plays. What's that say about him, to be
And that, like, he recovers the fumble and it's ball to one. He has this.
Yeah, he did it. He's just doing his job, doing what we ask him to do. It's important that you have someone step up. That's what the game of football is about. The NBA, they call it a make or miss league, right? And this is a make or miss league. You're either making plays or you're not. And certainly in critical moments of the game, you kind of define yourself in your play. And he happens to be making them in those moments right now. And it's not going to be him all the time. We need other guys that are going to be able to do that in those critical moments of the game. And certainly great to see for him. He works his tail off, and, certainly that'll bring him some confidence. All right.